Today we're going to be planting some potatoes back here, and I'm going to also share with you a few tips and tricks to help you have a really successful potato harvest this year. It can be planted basically anywhere, in ground, in rows and hills, in raised beds, in pots, containers. I'm actually doing an experiment and growing them just in a cardboard box. You just want to make sure that they have a loose, well-draining soil. So if you have very heavy clay soil, you might want to put them in a raised bed or raise them up in containers. Potatoes are also a heavy feeder, so make sure you add lots of well-composted compost. You don't want to add any sort of fresh manure because that will increase the risk of potato scab, which is a potato disease. Potatoes also like full sun, so make sure that they're not put into a shady area. Like most other things you can plant in your garden, potatoes come in a huge variety. Potatoes come in either early, mid, or late season. So basically, early season potatoes take around 60-70 days to mature, whereas the later seasons can take 100-120 plus days to mature. Now, a lot of people talk about hilling their potatoes, and here's a little secret. Potatoes are just like tomatoes, the nightshade family. So potatoes can be found in determinate varieties and indeterminate varieties. A determinate potato is only going to get to a certain size, produce a certain amount of flowers, whereas the indeterminate potato will keep growing, and those are the potatoes you're going to want to hill. And a quick Google search will tell you what the potato you're growing, whether it's an indeterminate or determinate. The ones I'm growing here today, I'm growing a Norland potato as well as a Yukon Gold potato. And these are both early mid-season determinate varieties. Just with my short growing season, that's what works best. Potatoes can also be planted early, up to 2 to 4 weeks before your last frost. Because they're in the ground, they're insulated by the soil, so it will take a couple of weeks for them to pop up, and by then you're out of your frost dates. Now, another thing you hear a lot about potatoes is chitting your potatoes. Chitting your potatoes is the same thing as sprouting. A lot of people think chitting your potatoes is when you cut them into smaller pieces, but that's just cutting your potatoes. Technically, chitting your potatoes and sprouting them is the same thing. And that's just letting them get a little bit of a sprout on them before you plant them in the ground. You don't need to pre-sprout or chit your potatoes, but it will just make your harvest 1 or 2 weeks earlier, and in my season, anything earlier is better. So you don't need to pre-cut your potatoes. If you plant them whole, generally you will get more potatoes per plant mound, but they'll be smaller. And when you cut them, you'll have less potatoes, but they'll be bigger. And for us, honestly, I don't cut my potatoes. I'm simpler the better. Any less steps I have to take, I will do that. So I'm just going to plant these guys all whole. So when you're pre-sprouting, you only want generally about 1 inch. These are pretty sprouted. I even have some in here that are getting a leaf on them already. From my experience, these potatoes will not do as well as the about 1 inch sprouted potatoes, but I'm going to plant them anyways and maybe just harvest them for some early potatoes. We'll do an experiment and see what happens.
So we're going to plant these today, and Mom has one of these too, but different kind.
What are we going to use that for?
For digging this dirt.
Digging in the dirt. So you want to plant your potatoes you're going to read everywhere, 4 to 8 inches deep. A lot of it's going to depend on your soil, indeterminate versus determinate, how much you want to mulch it. If in doubt, go with the average 6 inches. And now how far apart? Again, you're going to see anywhere from 8 to 15 inches apart. Simply put, the closer together, the smaller potatoes you're going to get. More space is going to give you bigger potatoes. So you're going to dig a hole.
I'm going to go right here.
You sure? Yeah, and then just move the dirt. Okay.
So I said that we're going to plant these right here.
No, we're going to plant them right there.
Oh. So it isn't enough?
Nope. You want it basically, Riker, you're going to go, look and see how deep the shovel is?
Yeah.
That's how deep we're going to go.
So
you can see what I showed him. So basically, I'm going to go about as deep as my shovel is. You got it down there? You want a trick? You're going to go, here, this one. Hold on, a little trick. You're going to go straight in, scoop it up.
I know.
Okay. Okay, now you're going to put that in there.
We'll bury it.
If it has, 1 second, buddy. If it has any sprouts like kind of coming up, try to put the sprouts so they're facing upwards. Just gonna go a little deeper.
A little bit deep. Oh, do you find walk?
Put it right there. That's okay.
The walk.
And then we're just gonna bury. Then we're gonna bury it. Put the dirt back on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to put this dirt right on there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay, so let's go. Let's get planting.
This is a raw potato. We don't want it, so let's throw it away. Whatever you want, okay? Okay. Like that.
Oh, well, I lost my helper, but I got it all planted. And it basically took about 2 10-pound bags. So there's almost 20 pounds of tomatoes planted. Depending on your soil, if you have a really dry soil, I would go ahead and water them at this point. But this soil is still really wet, so I'm not going to water it, and we're actually going to be getting rain in the next day or two. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.